Hello everybody, Chris here, and in this video I'm going to be giving you my introduction to Windows 10, and this is especially a tutorial for beginners, so if you're already very fluent in using computers, there's probably not going to be a huge amount of new information here for you, but for those who are relatively new to using different operating systems, or fresh to Windows 10 at least, there should be something for you here. So the first thing I want to talk about is the desktop area in Windows 10. Pretty much every modern operating system does have a desktop, and the desktop refers to all of these little icons you see on your screen when you first boot into Windows and log in. It has the start menu in the bottom left-hand corner. It has this bar here, which is for searching your computer, but it's also for using a feature that's specific to Windows 10 called Cortana, which is kind of a virtual assistant. You can start saying things like, "Hey Cortana," if you've set it up, and then you'll get some notification down here that your computer's processing that information, and you can basically speak into the microphone that you want to, let's say, set a reminder or something like that. As you can see, I do have Cortana disabled, but that is one of the cool features in Windows 10. And then you have this bar down here, which contains a lot of other icons for activating applications, but it also shows the applications that you have open right now. So for instance, I wouldn't put a task manager icon on my desktop, but because I have it open, it shows down there at the bottom. But you can pin different icons to the bottom bar, basically by right-clicking an icon, and then you would go to Pin to Taskbar. So that's what this thing down here is called. It's the taskbar. And then finally, on the bottom right, you have the notification area, which includes useful information like the time and date. If you have multiple language keyboards installed on your computer, you'll have this area where you can switch keyboard schemes. The sound settings, which you can right-click to get more options there by opening the volume mixer. You have the ability to connect to Wi-Fi right here. So if you click that, it'll show you all of the Wi-Fi points that are nearby you. And then this icon over here, the one that looks like a battery, if you have a laptop, that's showing you how charged your battery is, the brightness of the screen, and you also have access to power and sleep settings. Now, there's actually going to be more icons here. If you click the Show Hidden Icons button, you can see a bunch more information. So I have Panda Antivirus, OBS Studio, which I'm using to record this video right now, different services like Spotify, GreenShot for taking screenshots. These are different applications that I've installed on top of Windows. But if you ever have something that it would be in the notification area and you don't see it here immediately, you click this little arrow to show more. So I guess we can cover the taskbar, the task manager a little bit, since I've already gone and brought this up. Normally, you access the task manager by hitting either Control-Alt-Delete or Control-Shift-Escape on your keyboard, and this allows you to see what tools are running on your computer. So for most people, having Show Fewer Details, just this list, is going to be fine, showing the main processes, the main programs that are running on your computer right now. So if I want to turn off Directory Opus, I can go ahead in that task. If I want to turn off Spotify, you left click it, you end task. Sometimes programs freeze up in Windows and pretty much all operating systems. So the task manager is a really good way to close those programs out. And if you ever need to see more information, you can show more details. In case you're wondering, the reason why my disk is at 100% operation is because I'm running some scans in the background, but not really important to this video. So we'll close that out. That's just a brief overview of the task manager. Of course, you can do more in it, but that's more advanced. Okay, let's pop our list back up. So the Microsoft Edge browser, this is the web browser, or the tool you use to browse internet web pages that's built into Windows 10. And they're very insistent on you using it. It's not required, of course. You can see I also have Google Chrome over here, which is another web browser. Perhaps more popular than Microsoft Edge. I'm not actually 100% sure about that, but Google Chrome is really popular. And other ones like Mozilla Firefox, which if you Google search or you go on to the internet, and in most web browsers you can just kind of go up here or use this search area, and you could be like Google Chrome, bam, and the first link is going to be the download. more or less. So yeah, if you didn't know how to web search, when you open Microsoft Edge, which is just double-clicking an icon, that's how you open a program, by the way, you would just hit this new tab thing. You've got this search bar. You type in what you want to search for, and it'll give you a bunch of results, as you can see here. Now, the search engine that Microsoft Edge defaults to is actually Microsoft Bing. Microsoft, the owner of Windows, likes to promote Microsoft products. You can't blame him for that, really. And if you want to change that default search engine, which is something I like to do, you can click over here on the settings inside of Microsoft Edge, and really any web browser kind of does things the same way. Go to settings, let's see, scroll down, view advanced settings, and change search engine is right here. So search in the address bar with, and then you choose the one you want to use. So not too complicated there. I mean, honestly, if you found this YouTube video, there's a good chance you already know how to do at least that much, so we'll leave it there. Okay, next up, Windows Explorer, or actually it's called File Explorer. Windows Explorer is kind of the entire interface, like this entire bar down here, plus File Explorer. By the way, if you ever want to open an application up, click here for the search bar and you can type in the name of it and it'll find it on your computer. Also a good way to find settings. So if you type in something like personalization, it'll give you the best match. So themes and related settings. And this will pop up the Windows 10 control panel. It has a lot of different settings here. And if you ever want to see basically all the settings, click home and it'll bring you to this Windows settings area. That's one way you can get there. Another way is you click on the start menu and you'll have this settings icon right here. If you ever see that gear, that's referring to the settings. Here's a third way you can access the settings. If we click over here on notifications, the Action Center will show you things that have recently happened with your computer, like updates or if there's any issues. But we also have the All Settings button here, as well as other options. So if you need to go into airplane mode, if you need to connect to a network, if you need to change the brightness, more advanced stuff like connecting to a VPN, that's a great way to do it. So all settings, and we have Windows settings opened up. So that's 3 ways to access all the settings on your computer. So the File Explorer, this is the tool that you use to navigate through your computer and see all of your files on your drive. Generally, most people are going to have one disk drive, one hard drive, and that's going to be their local disk, C drive partition, where all your files are going to be stored. So in the C drive for Windows, the 3 most important folders that you're going to need to worry about are Program Files, x86, and Users. So if there's any files attached to your user account, like your desktop files, you go into Users, you find the name of the profile, and then you can do things like desktop, and oh, look at that, we have the same files that I have on my desktop here. So this is actually just, it's kind of like a visual shortcut to the C drive users Chris desktop directory. Now, Program Files, this is where all of your apps are going to be stored. So there's 2 versions here. x86 means 32-bit, and then Program Files, the non-x86 version, really it would be x64, which means 64-bit. So if you have a 32-bit app, it's going to be in Program Files x86, and if you have a 64-bit app, it's going to be in Program Files. And here you can see all the different apps I have installed on my computer. Program Files, same kind of thing. Different apps are running on different bit architectures. You don't really need to worry about that too much. Just know that these are the 2 locations that almost all of your apps are ever going to be in. And then the 4th most important folder, probably Windows. You should not touch anything in here unless you kind of know what you're doing or you're reading a guide online at least. Because Windows is your operating system. If you delete stuff in here, it's very likely to blow up your computer. So don't go into Windows and do that kind of stuff. It's just my recommendation. I really hope a lot of people aren't doing that now to like spite me. But yeah, important system files are located in Windows. For the most part, if you're not really deep into computers, you'll never need to go in there, but know that that's where your operating system is installed. Okay, Ninite. So, this is actually not part of Windows, but it is a great way to install applications onto your Windows machine. Now, I'm assuming since you're watching an Introduction to Windows video, you probably have not installed many apps on your computer. So Ninite makes it freaking easy in order to install basically a lot of different applications. So Ninite.com, if you open any web browser like Edge and you type in Ninite.com in this top bar, hit enter and go here, you're going to be able to make basically a choose your own apps installer where it's click once and everything gets installed on your computer and you don't need to worry about anything else. So you can see on this page, you choose the apps you want. So that means left clicking the checkboxes. So let's say you want Chrome, Qubit Torrent, 7-Zip, Skype, Thunderbird, GIMP, let's say Steam, Foxit Reader. These are all apps I like to use. And so on and so forth. Maybe you want to pick up other runtimes so that your computer has maximum compatibility with any apps you ever try to run. Then you get your Ninite, and it's going to download an installer for you. So at the bottom, you can see, do you want to run this program? You just hit run, and it's going to pop up this little installer where any apps that are on that list and are not installed on your computer already are going to download, and they're going to install in the background without you having to do anything else. So it makes it so easy to get all those free apps on your computer, and I really recommend it. Not really a promotional video for it or anything. Ninite just is really awesome. It saved me a lot of time, multiple times. Okay, so some useful hotkeys. You see the Windows button on your keyboard? It's the one that looks like 4 squares. If you're on a newer computer, it might have, presumably that's on your keyboard anyway. It's next to Control and Alt. If you're on a laptop, there may be a Fn, a function button as well. So bottom left-hand corner, the Windows button is 4 squares. It looks like a 4-panel window. If you click that, it's a shortcut for opening your Start menu. By the way, the Start menu can also be opened with your mouse. You go to the bottom left-hand corner, you click it, it opens it. And this is going to show you all of your apps that you have installed on your computer right here. You can scroll down and access all of those. And then you can pin apps to this section over here. You can also basically hide these all, I think. So, hold on, whoops. And then in these sections over here, which may look a little different than what I've got here, you have apps that you basically pin here. So you can add a new application to this menu pretty easily. If you find basically the executable file or shortcut on your computer, you can right-click it, and you're going to look for Pin to Start. So Pin to Start should add it here. Okay, there we go. Yep, just popped up. Caden Live. That's a video editor. Also, I believe if you right-click anything on your taskbar, you can do the same. So let's right-click that Spotify thing. Okay, I guess not. I guess it has to actually be an icon. So if you had let's say you had a program here that you wanted to add to the Start menu as well, but you don't have the icon on your desktop. Let's go find it on our computer. So Spotify, that's going to be in Program Files, so I'm going to open up the File Explorer, which, by the way, there's usually an icon on the taskbar, but I use Directory Opus as a replacement for File Explorer, but that is a paid app. So we're going to hit this PC, C drive. I think it's 64-bit for Spotify, so Program Files. Okay, I'm wrong. So we're going back to Program Files x86. Spotify, where are you? You know what? There is a way we can find that out. I'm going to right-click on this icon. I'm going to right-click Spotify, and I'm going to hit Properties. So whenever you go to the properties of a shortcut, it'll show you where it's pointing to. So C drive users, Chris, app data, roaming Spotify, Spotify executable. So we can actually get to app data for our profile very easily. So this is kind of a cool trick. For some things, there are shortcuts built into Windows. So this is like, I think it's a path-based shortcut. So if I type in %appdata%, it's going to go straight to the app data for our user profile. So for me, that's Chris. We're looking for roaming, which we're already inside. You can see the path up here at the top. And I'm going to go to Spotify. Spotify.exe, we found it, so I'm going to right-click it and pin it to start. So now we can open up the start menu, and there we go. So, I know, showing a few things that are a little bit more than what the average user knows, but hey, this is helping you guys out, I hope. Let's see, start menu. Okay, we did cover that a bit. Let's see, is there anything else we can cover about the start menu? Not really. If you see your, basically a profile picture over here, you can click that, switch users, log out, sign out. You can lock your computer, which means that no one can touch it until you log in again. And you can change account settings specific to your profile. This is also the file explorer here, so another place to open that up. The Windows Store. Okay, we can open that up. So I'm going to type in Windows Store here. Now the Windows Store, I think they added Windows Store with Windows 8. And the idea here is it's basically an app store. If you have a mobile phone, very likely like Android or iPhone, you know exactly what you're looking at here. So this is tied to your Windows profile, which you have the option of attaching to your Windows user account. You can either log in with a local account or you can sign in with a Microsoft account. When you are installing Windows, they basically encourage you to use a Microsoft account. You have to actually click set up with a local account instead, which is a very small link. And the idea here is you can find a bunch of apps to install on your computer. Now, these are not the same apps as like the Spotify app I have here. That's a executable. It's not a Windows 10 app. So these Windows 10 apps were specifically developed for Windows 10, where those other apps, something like Chrome, Google Chrome, were developed just to run on Windows platforms in general. So at the end of the day, they pretty much work the same way, but they're designed differently. A Windows 10 app will only work with Windows 10, but if you were using Google Chrome on XP, you can use it on Windows 10 or Windows 7. It makes no difference, really. Now, a lot of apps are also compatible with Windows 8, of course. Just know that if you ever go back or you ever switch operating systems, you may not have access to those Windows 10 apps. Now, I think for a lot of Windows 10 apps as well, they are compatible with Windows phones, but I don't think too many people have those out there. So a lot of these apps, some are good, but some are paid, some are free. I would say probably click on top apps or top games if you're interested in browsing through them, but to be honest, most applications I regularly use are just from the internet, so you go Google search them and you find the download. But this is a quick place to get some things that you might be interested in. So give it a shot if that interests you. Now, speaking of executable files, there's two kinds of executable files, really. One to run a program and one to install it. So let me find the one that I was going to demo for installing. I think I put it on my C drive. So the TeamViewer setup. Whenever you download a program, you usually have to open a setup file, which may be .exe or should always be .exe. Actually, this .msi files too, I think. But the idea here is you have to double-click on the installer in order to install a program. So pretty simple. Most people probably already know that. But yeah, when you download a file, find it on your computer. It may be in your downloads folder, which would be C drive, users, the name of your profile, and then downloads, and then that's where all your downloads save to. And when you open it up, you'll get these really easy to use installers, which is one of the advantages of Windows, by the way. You don't have to use the command prompt much, which is where you have like a black screen and you're typing text to do everything. You can just use these graphical user interfaces with buttons and that kind of thing. So here I could just proceed with this installation by, checking the options I want. Basic installation, personal, non-commercial use, accept, finish. And that's all well and good. And at the end of installing a program, usually it'll put an icon in your desktop, like TeamViewer did here. So TeamViewer 12, and then I can double-click these icons, which point to executable files stored in program files, in order to open those apps up and use them. So very basic, and one of the things that has always made Windows great. We did touch on settings. Maybe we can pop open a few. Actually, the most important settings, I think, for most people are going to be personalizing the display. So if you right-click on your desktop, which is a great way to open up menus with extra information, like the ability to sort your desktop, so like sort by item type, bam, sorts all the files here. Just go down, right-click, go down to Display Settings and Personalize, and you can actually change some of the things on your computer, like the background. So I could just switch here, And then bam, we have camping under the stars. Not bad. Right click, maybe display settings if you need to change the resolution. I think you do that here. So resolution, most people are going to want that set to the highest value here possible. Basically, more pixels on your screen means more detail. So highest resolution is usually a good thing. And yeah, that's pretty much how you change settings. Of course, if you click the home button, you can see all the different settings that exist in Windows, but there's an awful lot to cover, and we're already going along with this video. So that's where you would look for them anyway. And remember, if you ever need to find a specific setting, you can always try just clicking down here on the search or Cortana and typing it in like change resolution. And then it will point you to basically the display settings to do that. Or change taskbar color. Would that work? Okay, it doesn't always work, but it might point you to a Microsoft web page or something like that, or at least a search on the web. And usually searching on the web gets you the information you need to know. Okay, so the last thing, log off, shutdown, sleep mode. There's a few different things you can do to your computer when you're not using it. Logging off is going to bring you back to the user login screen. Shutdown is going to turn your computer off completely. Sleep mode is going to put your computer into like a hibernation state, but it's still going to maintain the data. It's going to hold that data in the RAM, I believe, the random access memory, so that when you reopen up your computer, like you open the laptop screen, for instance, it's going to still have all the programs open that you had when you put it into sleep mode. So it's still minimizing the power use, but it's holding on to the active data. And then, of course, screen lock. That does not put it into sleep mode, but it locks the screen. It makes it so that someone else, you or someone else, needs to log into the computer before it can be touched again. It's a good practice to lock your computer when you go away from it so that kids or coworkers or anything like that can't mess with your stuff. Yeah, if you want to do sleep mode or restart or shut down, this little power button here in the start menu, that's where you can do it. So restart is going to reboot your computer. Shut down shuts it off. It does not reboot until you hit the power button again. And sleep mode is, well, puts it on low power, apps stay open, so that when you reopen it up, everything's still there. So like all these programs I have running are still going to be there. Now if you're running something actively, like for instance this recording, you're probably going to run into issues if you put it in sleep mode. I don't know exactly what happens there. Maybe the recording just stops on its own. But keep in mind that applications that need to be constantly running are going to kind of be in a hibernation state when you do put it in sleep mode. But aside from that, I think that's a really good first lesson in Windows 10. Even if you already know kind of how Windows I hope I've shown you some stuff that you found interesting or helpful. In any case, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in my future video content.